Moving on to GeForce Now, which of all of the different streaming services, I think right now GeForce Now is the one that has the best quality. They have a free service where you don't have to even subscribe, and you can use GeForce Now in order to stream basically your Steam library or your Epic Games library. But you got to wait. And now it looks like they're going to be including 2 minutes of video ads while you wait for your turn in line. Keep in mind, if you're on the free tier, you generally will be waiting more than 2 minutes anyway. How do you guys feel about the introduction of ads into this streaming thing? Rich?
Entirely predictable. Like, come on. This is what we were talking about, right? Like, with subscriptions, is that there's no way. I know that I received some amount of heat for this, but there's no way, based on what we've seen, that these streaming subscriptions specifically are profitable at the moment. And they will become profitable, but how do they become profitable? With stuff like this, right? Like, you have to raise the prices. You have to, once you have that user acquisition, you have those people locked in, you're going to have to raise the prices. You're going to have to introduce ads. Like, it's, at this point, we've seen it happen with the other streaming, with the non-video game streaming services. So this is entirely predictable, and I expect that Game Pass will do the same thing one day.
I suspect so as well. Yeah.
So the thing for me is that I don't mind this stuff as long as it eats into the time I'm waiting anyway. Like, so we're waiting 10 minutes to play the rig, and you get 2 minutes of ads, then there better only be 8 minutes after that. And when it gets to the point where it's actually like cutting into your actual gameplay time, that's when I find an ad to be like, it's beyond that threshold for me. I can't stand it anymore.
This win in Fortnite is brought to you by...
Right. And so, there's an integration piece there of like when it comes to the point where it's so inconvenient that I no longer like that service. And so as long as it doesn't step into that part... I don't care. I got to wait 10 minutes anyway.
I guess
you know what I mean? I'm going to click off of it, but if it goes into that other part, that's when I get mad.
There's that ESPN type of like Victory Royale, and it like spins into an ad, and it's just like right in front of your face. Like, oh, right, I would have to sit in a lobby anyway. I guess I'll just have an ad in my face. But yeah, there's that. There's multiple things, right? There's been, so I have like AWS stuff from my job stuff that I have in my feed. Some dude was like, he's like, I just deleted a bunch of data off of Amazon S3, and they charged me just to delete it. He got charged like $430.
What?
Yeah, Amazon S3 charges for just deleting the data. Like,
that's insane.
That's the type of like hyper charging scheme that they have going on Amazon type of stuff, which is more along, there's like a side part of that where everyone, like CEOs that want to go into the cloud and use third-party services, are not aware of all the little nickel and dime stuff that are the total gotchas. But it's along the same line, and we've had this.
I'm sorry, I have to say we had a term for trying to save money by leaving the cloud. It was called Clegsit. So,
nice.
If you're in tech, then maybe that's funny. We've had this conversation multiple times in this podcast, and I've brought it up multiple times just because, you look at it, Xbox Xbone, right, in 2013, TV, like, who's having this conversation? Why are you guys talking about TV? And then AT&T buys DirecTV, like the whole company. Is like, what the hell are, like, so Microsoft is pushing TV, AT&T bought DirecTV. These are two totally different companies doing TV. And then you look at all these other things, and you can see it all happening, right? And like Netflix, like, gets rid of search and all the other stuff, and all these other companies are just starting to like do their own search thing. And now you look at ads happening, and Amazon Prime now starts having ads, and all these other things. YouTube starts boosting up their ad stuff, and all of these companies that are not the same company, they're all different companies, but yet they're in lockstep with the same type of plan and strategy. So Amazon Prime, which had nothing with ads ever before, just like, we have ads this year. And now we're starting to see GeForce Now have ads. And it's like all of these things that are just streaming video, regardless of whatever that video is now starting to have ads, so that it becomes commonplace. It becomes a thing that now you are just expecting, if it streams video, I'm going to get an ad. And it's, even if they're just different companies, it doesn't matter, because, they're going to make money from ads, and if everyone does it in unison, it becomes harder for the dissent to come in.
And this
yeah, it's
episode
like
of the Nerd Nest podcast is brought to you by. What were you
It's
saying,
almost
Russ?
like we're collectively like the frog that's being boiled
Yes.
at this point, where we are just slowly getting to the experience, making it worse and worse and worse, to the point where we just like we don't understand that there's an alternative out there, and then there'll be some sort of backlash at some point, I hope, and then it'll kind of go back to whatever it was, but who knows.
On the backlash point, you guys tell me if I'm crazy, because I've been saying this recently with like Netflix. Yeah, I am, right? Okay. So forget about basic cable, right? But like, I feel like we're at a bit of a point where like network TV could come back. Like people
Right.
could, right? Okay.
Pendulum is swinging back.
Yeah, I feel like it could come back. I feel like if people came up with like, if studios came up with like really good shows and they were on network TV right now, like there would be a good chance that like we could see that pendulum swing all the way back.
You mean where it's interrupted with a commercial?
Yes,
And I have
absolutely.
to watch the commercial and
Because
I
the
can't fast
point-
forward through the commercial?
Well, that's the thing. You have to do the commercial anyway, right? You have to do it anyway. Maybe we get DVRs back, but you have to do it anyway, and network TV is free. I don't know. I feel like people.
We're getting nickeled and dimed too, right? All the different services, and each one's charging whatever. I'm at a point where I'm like, I wish I could just go back to pay $100 a month for cable and have everything again.
Yeah.
Because at this point, like, it's like I have to choose: is it going to be Paramount or Peacock? Which one is it going to be this month? You know, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
I say this knowing that it's, I'm not being ironic, because we're all, we all have YouTube channels and we have ads on our YouTube videos, but like,
the dynamic
I
is different
see
there.
ads when I go places. Like if I happen to be at a location and the TV is on and I see an ad and I'm like, holy God, I don't know how people put up with that, because those ads are so freaking irritating. And so I always just like, I pay for YouTube Premium so I don't have ads. I yes, when my wife and I sit down and watch Saturday Night Live on Peacock, it's interrupted by ads, but I reach over and I mute the TV and we do something else while we're waiting for that ad to be over, because you can't fast forward through those ads. I could not go back to that being the default.
Remember changing the channel when an ad came on?
Yeah, and then I forget what the hell I was watching, and I never find out what happened to Doogie Howser or whatever.
Didn't they like that collusion that I know it happened with radio channels, at least where I am. Like if a radio has an ad on and you like, let me go to another channel, it was an ad on another channel. It was like they
That's
all
messed up.
lined up their advertisement breaks at the same time, so it didn't matter which channel you were going to hope to like get into like another song or whatever. You were just going to be blasted into another ad, so you would like cycle through your tuning stations and then go right back to the one that you were at, because they were all ads. And it's like I was like, I mean, that's genius, because you're not going to be channel surfing like you would be. But yeah, that's I don't know if I'm very close, like a mile away from the Freedom Tower, which has a HD beacon for over-the-air TV. I could get high definition over the air with just like a copper coax, just putting it out into the air. Like this. I get perfect HD signal. So for me, it makes sense for me to have like broadcast, like at least the 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13 channels. At least where my area, those were like the prime channels, the prime time channels. And for those, if those were to come back, they're free as it is right now. But even the services that are on like LG and Samsung and Sony, where they do the free TVs that are streaming in there, and those are ad based and stuff. There's a lot of content that's out there, and then there's the ones where like Google TV bakes it all in, so it's like it's Peacock and it's all this other stuff, but they kind of blend it all into this one singular service that it looks like a direct TV listing or a cable listing of like channels that you're kind of going through, and you can see the time marker of where it's at.
Right.
There's lots of interesting things there, and yeah, I guess everyone, when they first starting to do it, they're like, everyone hates ads, we have to leave ads. Hulu was the only one that didn't do it. But now, Hulu always had, even if you paid for it, you always had ads.
Always had ads.
Yeah, but it's only at the beginning and the end of the show, and I don't care. That's fine. Like, I turn it on, I watch a 30-second ad, and then I watch the show uninterrupted. and then afterwards there's another ad. That does not bother me at all. In fact, the idea of the Fortnite win where you said it turns around and it says like brought to you by Gillette. I'm like, that'd be funny.
Right, yeah. Like if you were in the lobby waiting to get into like the pregame lobby for like multiplayer games, right? Like you had a timer, that was a 30-second timer before everyone got in to do the thing. At that point, if they were feeding me an ad, would you really care? You're like, okay, I'm just getting blasted in the face with this ad. I was waiting to play anyway. I would be I wouldn't be super resistive to that. So there's mechanisms there, like Russ was saying, where I was going to be there anyway. You might as well just pepper it in, make your money, do whatever the hell you're going to do.
Comments are going to be fire for this episode.
I mean, I'm trying to navigate and find a way where this is fine, right? Like, it's not as good as like what Twitch does. Twitch is like I've only watched Twitch a few times, but you go to someone's stream and they'll just be talking, then it's just like, hard cut, put an ad in front of your face, and you're like, what's going on?
Can I...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, like, it's not this goes back to what you were saying, Bill, right? Like going to kind of network TV, just having ads anyway. It's not specifically the ad that's the problem, right? Like I don't like ads either, but it's not the ad that's the problem. It's that the deal keeps changing. And they sold you on specifically gaming streaming, they sold you on it'll be more convenient. Yes, you'll lose your games, you'll lose access to your games, but it'll be more convenient for you. And they give you this deal, and that's what happened with Netflix, right? Like you had your entire video library because everything you wanted to watch, search going away, Carrie, right? Like the reason search was useful is because 90% of what you searched for on Netflix at the time was available on Netflix. Right. Now you search for something on Netflix, you're not going to find it most likely.
Right.
So it would not be helpful to them. So like the deal just keeps changing, and it's frustrating. At least to me it is. And as bad as network television got and is right now, the deal hadn't changed for like decades. Like the deal was the same, and that felt nice.
I've altered the deal. Pray I don't alter it further.